What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Last time we briefly talked about the human waves, as in brain waves and cellular waves that you and I emanate on a daily basis, what that could potentially mean in specific technology such as AI, as in AGI and ASI, which are the future of the AI for now at least. And today I'd like to go a little bit deeper into more specifically human brain waves and what that could potentially mean in the field of sciences, and dig a little bit deeper into that. Every single interaction is about exchange of information, whether they are humans that are interacting with each other, or if there's a human interacting with a device, a machine, let's say your cell phone, and vice versa. Regardless of that interaction, ultimately, and if you think about it deeply, it's about us exchanging information. And how do we actually exchange that information? There are no wires that is connecting us with each other. It's all done wirelessly. So whether humans are interacting and exchanging information with one another, it's all wirelessly. So is human interaction with the machines. The question is, though, why do we exchange information? Why do we need information? Why do we crave it? But if we think about information from another point of view, we also look at all the sciences we've had so far, all the philosophers we've had so far, all the human knowledge existing so far, it all always comes back to one simple phenomena, and that is the fact that a human being seeks knowledge, it seeks information, it seeks wisdom. That is something that is innate within us. Hence, most of us, if not all of us, are always obsessed with finding out more and more information just because innately we want to know. If you remember your childhood, or if you observe the children around you, you'll see that one of the first things that they start is asking questions. As soon as they start talking, they start asking questions. And that goes back to us innately seeking wisdom and knowledge and information, because that's how the brain works. The brain wants to think. It is its job. And so one way that we crave more and more, and we learn more and more, is through asking questions and learning more and more. And so again, it always goes back to us innately wanting and being curious and wanting to know. Now, how we digest that information and communicate that information, that's a whole other topic. But at its purest level, we do seek information and knowledge. And so that's why the field of information science becomes so exciting, because essentially that whole field is trying and striving to understand that innate quest of a human being in terms of its wanting to process information, seek information, etc. But looking at it from this other point of view that I just talked about, we can also translate that into more of a philosophical aspect of us humans and why we are so innately interested and obsessed, more or less, with information. That's because we seek knowledge and we seek wisdom. Every single one of us was born with this capability, and our brain and our cells are extremely good at it. And so as a result, scientists have spent the past couple of decades trying to understand how that process of a human seeking knowledge and information happens. And that has contributed to birth of several key theoretical framework in the field of information science. One of those key theoretical framework is called Information Search Process Model, developed by Dr. Carol Kuhl-Thowell, who spent over 20 years experiencing and experimenting with this human phenomena and came up with a framework as to what the process is. Dr. Kuhl-Thowell was able to organize, after decades of research, the way in which a human seeks information, seeks knowledge, into 6 different stages. She looked at it holistically, at the mental level, physical level, also emotional level, and came up with a framework out of it. And that is what scientists love. We love to experiment and then come up with frameworks as to what it happens. Because again, the brain wants to organize things. The brain, when things are organized, it sees it better. So the human brain is seeking to understand itself through the language of science. And so those 6 stages has become one of the main and key theoretical framework in the field of information science. This theoretical framework was able to distinguish and categorize the way in which you, for example, start wondering about something, start asking a question. Essentially, there is a seed that is planted in you the moment that you become curious about a topic, and it really doesn't matter what the topic is. It could be something scientific, or it could be a gossip about a neighbor, seeking gossip and information about the neighbor. It really doesn't matter. Essentially, that theoretical framework works because it can explain every single situation, and those 6 stages, we all go through them. And the key theoretical framework looks at it at a physical level, at a mental level, and at an emotional level, and is able to gather them all together. The part that it was missing was the neurological aspect of the brain. More specifically, what happens in the brain when we go through these 6 stages, or we go through the information seeking stages. And that is the part that my thesis addressed. However, I focused more on the invisible brain, so to speak, as in brain waves, as opposed to the physical brain, as in, for example, looking at neurotransmitter, looking at the placements of the physical brain. Nonetheless, the brainwave aspect of it was also determined during this thesis, and I was able to determine what happens during these stages when you and I look for information and knowledge. Now, why is this important and why should we care, you may ask? Knowing that everything is about exchange of information, whether there is a human and there is a device and they're exchanging information, or there are 2 humans that are exchanging information. And knowing that these key theoretical frameworks in information science have been able to explain and organize how is it that this information exchange happen, it's really important to tie that back in to the way in which humans will interact with machines in the future, let's say AI. Like we talked last time, the wearables today is much more sophisticated than they were just 5 years ago, and they are going to be even more sophisticated in the future. And of course, implants are coming. However, please don't be alarmed because they won't be mandatory. But just talking about the wearables, they're able to exchange information at the neurological level, at the biofeedback level and neurofeedback level, like we talked last time. And so very shortly, we will be interacting with machines, as in either our cell phones or robots or AI in the future, there will be at that level. And so knowing that whether you are a consumer of these products or whether you are the producer of these products, it really doesn't matter, because at the bottom line, the exchange of information, because that is the core of it all, is at the neuro and biofeedback level. And so going from the information seeking key theoretical framework aspect of it is going to be extremely crucial for all of us. And the potential growth and development of these at the humanitarian level is endless. A lot of people tend to close themselves off when we start having conversations about these topics, not really thinking about what the humanitarian aspects of this exchange of information would be at a neurological level. And so the machines become the extension of humans, has amazing ramification of these potential technologies. Revealing the brain waves, more specifically, of these frameworks when the exchange of information, exchange of knowledge happens, is also very crucial, because at the core of it all, the exchange of information that we're doing, it's all at the wireless level. Even when you, for example, talk to your friend or any other human beings, that exchange of knowledge or exchange of information, or you seeking wisdom and information, it all happens wirelessly. And so that type of a connection will emerge more and more between humans and machines in the future. And so as a result, we are able to and will be able to do it even more in terms of using the way in which we have determined how the brain is working, what type of brain waves do we have when all these interaction and information seeking, wisdom seeking, knowledge seeking that happens, we'll be able to use those knowledge that we have acquired. And so that is the biggest portion of, for example, my thesis that I dedicated over 7 years towards. But it's not only about the way in which the brainwaves happen. Emotions and the brainwaves of emotion also have a lot to do with it. I'll talk more in details in the future because I don't want to make these videos too long. But at this point, I did want to emphasize the fact that once we learn more about what is it at a brainwave level, at the invisible brainwave level of human beings, through the process of seeking knowledge and wisdom and information, we are able to then use that information to benefit and to move towards a more humanitarian effort when it comes to the connection of humans and machines, let's say in this case AGI and ASI in the future, but a lot more, I should say, not only these. In the next video, I'll go a little bit even more deeper when it comes to the specific brain waves, as in alpha, beta, gamma, that correspond to the way in which, for example, you suddenly feel the need to ask a question or you seek an information. And that is very exciting to know because research is showing us that the human brain waves actually differ, and how they differ, why they differ, and what is it that's good or bad about them when they differ in that sense. There's a lot to talk about, so I try not to make these videos too long. And so that's why I'm trying to do shorter videos, but every time go a little bit deeper and deeper. If you have any comments, let me know. Otherwise, I hope this was useful to you.